Welcome to the Make It Happen with Will Polston podcast.
Obviously, you've literally written the book on I Am Enough, and you've obviously experienced a lot of people that have found out that they don't feel they're enough. And if people think they're not enough, obviously either consciously or certainly at a subconscious level, then that can have lots of impact. So what have you found to be the root causes of why people think they're not enough, and how do they overcome that?
Well, it always comes from your child. You think when you're a baby and you're born, the first thing that happens is people count your fingers and toes, and no baby goes, don't look at me, I haven't got any hair, I'm having a bad day. So a baby, and I used to push my little girl out down the street, and her pram would come and look at her, and she'd kick her little legs and she'd smile, her toothless smile, and she loved attention, just like when you get a cat or a dog, they love attention. So nobody is born saying, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I mean, if you put your baby in a cupboard, it will scream for days because it clearly knows it is enough. I have a lovely friend called Sammy Shoebox. Gosh, I love him. But I love his story. He was put in a shoebox on a tip in the Philippines and just left there as a newborn baby. And he cried for 3 days. I mean, the first day somebody thought it was a cat. By the third day, they went and had a look and found this baby whose life changed then. He was adopted in America. But if he hadn't cried for 3 days, he wouldn't be here. And why did he cry for 3 days? Because his innate intelligence said, I need some people and I'm worthy of them. So I'm going to demand attention. Babies do that. They demand you feed them, pick them up, hold them. Animals do that. When you're on the computer, they walk right across it. They come and sit on you. They demand attention, but what is underneath that is a belief, I'm worth it. So what happens? Well, what happens is parents start to say, oh, your sister, she wasn't messy like you, your brother. Or they say, you were supposed to be a girl, or you were supposed to be a boy, or I don't like you when you do that. Or parents leave, or they get divorced, or they bring another partner into the house and they have a new baby and you feel sidelined. And when children's needs aren't met by the people that bring them up, they never hate them. They hate themselves. They don't blame the parents. Oh, my mum's an alcoholic. My dad has got anger issues. They blame themselves. I'm not enough. So when a child's needs are not met, they now believe they're not enough. And that's why I formed the I Am Enough movement to say, look, that's not okay that your father left when you were 3 months old and never came back and didn't even pay child support. It's not okay, but that doesn't define you. It wasn't you that wasn't enough, it was him. Because children have to idealize their parents, and that's why it's easier to blame yourself. If you work out that your father's mentally ill and your mom has got a drinking problem and is running around town and bringing home different guys every week, that's terrifying as a child. Much better to think, oh, it's my fault. My mom's got all these different boyfriends because I'm not enough. My dad's angry because I'm not enough. My dad's drinking. I must make him unhappy. And it's a terrible shame that children blame themselves, but it's a survival thing. And I depend on my parents, so I'll idolize them and pretend I'm not okay. And by the time you can work out that it really wasn't your fault at all, nobody does. They still go, but I'm not enough. I'm not lovable enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not interesting enough. I'm not worthy enough. And once you buy into that, you'll keep it. And so, but the good news in that is that it's never too late to go back and undo old programming. That's what RTT does. It takes you back. People come in with a story. Here's the story of my life. And it's often a terrible story. And I know the day I see someone, I have the honor and the joy and the privilege of changing the ending of their movie. And so does all the people that I've trained to do what I do. Because it's never too late to change the ending. We're working so hard to change the ending without understanding it. Sometimes you have to change the beginning. It's like, okay, my dad was absent, so I'm really attracted to absent people. Then I spent all my life trying to make them present. Well, no, don't do that. Start being attracted to someone who's present in the beginning. Life's too short to keep trying to recreate what you know and changing the ending. Sometimes you have to change the beginning to change the ending. And men will say, my mother was cold and distant. I love cold, distant women. They've got my name all over them. And I try to turn them into somebody warm and loving. And It's such a shame that we do that. But when you can simplify therapy and realize that everyone has the same problems, and the biggest one is I'm not enough by far. The biggest thing wrong with people is they don't feel enough, don't feel worthy enough, lovable enough, smart enough, interesting enough. So many different enoughs. And I've worked with thousands of addicts, and they all had that thing, I'm not enough. So I need more drink, more drugs, more food, more gambling, more donuts, more attention, more praise, more partners. And that's not what you have to solve. You have to solve what lies beneath the I'm not enoughness. And all my graduates are trained for whatever a client comes in with. I'm coming in with a chronic headache, or I'm coming in with a nervous stomach, or I'm coming in with I can't speak in public. Of course, we treat the presenting problem, but we also treat what lies beneath, which can only be I'm not enough, I'm different, so I can't connect, which is a biggie, because we used to all look the same. We lived in tribes, we were like everyone, and now we live in a multicultural world, and if we connect by being the same, that's very hard if you feel different. And the third one is interesting. It's I want something so much, but I know it's not available. I want love, but I was left behind as a baby. I want to be happy, but I've got the depressed gene. I want to stop drinking. I come from a family of alcoholics. So this belief that what I want is not available to me, the belief that I'm different, so I can't connect, and the belief that I'm not enough, they are the common denominator that runs every single issue my clients have. And I always look at which one. Sometimes I say to them, which one is it? They go, oh, it's definitely that one. They go, how did you work that out so fast? But it's because it's the background of human problems. Of course, if you're living in a country with no food, no shelter, and a war, it's a little different. But in the modern world, those three issues are what's wrong with everyone. And they're very easy to change once you know how.
And that's changing the story, right? So that they then change their story, so they realize, actually, I am enough. I can fit in, and what I want is possible for me to be able to get it, and I can achieve what it is that I want. And changing that internal dialogue, which obviously you do in an incredible way, and all of your graduates and other therapists that are trained in the RTT method, which can be done. Which, by the way, in the show notes, I'll leave a link to it so people can get access to it that want to find out more. You can find the full episodes of the Make It Happen with Will Polston podcast here on YouTube, on iTunes, Spotify, and all other major podcast platforms.